Let's get ready for the Rhode Island real estate exam with 100 questions covering key state laws, principles, and practices you'll need to know. And keep an eye on the bottom corner. There's something there that could make a big difference in your prep. We'll tell you how to use it in just a minute. Now let's get started.
Let's begin with a review of licensing requirements and procedures. Rhode Island licensing requirements and procedures. What is the minimum age requirement to apply for a real estate license in Rhode Island? Is it A, 18 years old, B, 21 years old, C, 16 years old, or D, 20 years old? The answer is A, 18 years old. In Rhode Island, individuals must be at least 18 years old to apply for a real estate license. This requirement ensures that applicants have reached the legal age of majority to enter into contracts. How many hours of pre-licensing education are required for a real estate salesperson in Rhode Island? Is it A, 30 hours, B, 60 hours, C, 50 hours, or D, 45 hours? The answer is D, 45 hours. In Rhode Island, aspiring real estate salespersons must complete 45 hours of pre-licensing education. This training covers essential topics to prepare candidates for the licensing exam.
Have you noticed the code in the bottom corner? Next time you're stumped, take that code to birdsy.ai for immediate help and a free study session with Birdsy, your personal AI study partner. Plus, you'll get access to hundreds of additional questions, helping you move closer to passing your exam with confidence. The next time you're feeling unsure or stuck, give it a try.
What is a requirement for a non-resident to obtain a real estate license in Rhode Island? Is it A, complete 60 hours of pre-licensing education in Rhode Island, B, pass a background check only if requested, C, file an irrevocable consent form, or D, hold a license in their home state for at least 5 years? The answer is C, file an irrevocable consent form. Non-residents must file an irrevocable consent form, allowing legal actions against them in Rhode Island. This ensures accountability and adherence to state laws, even for those living outside the state. What is the validity period of a real estate license in Rhode Island before renewal is required? Is it A, 1 year, B, 3 years, C, 2 years, or D, 5 years? The answer is C, 2 years. A real estate license in Rhode Island is valid for 2 years. Licensees must renew their licenses biennially to continue practicing legally in the state. Continuing education requirements. What is the minimum number of continuing education hours required for real estate license renewal in Rhode Island? Is it A, 12 hours, B, 18 hours, C, 24 hours, or D, 30 hours? The answer is C, 24 hours. Rhode Island requires real estate licensees to complete 24 hours of continuing education every 2 years to maintain their license. This ensures that professionals stay informed about industry changes and best practices. Which of the following topics is mandatory for continuing education in Rhode Island for real estate professionals? Is it A, fair housing, B, luxury real estate, C, green building practices, or D, international real estate? The answer is A, fair housing. Rhode Island requires licensees to cover specific topics, including fair housing, to ensure professionals are knowledgeable about essential legal and ethical practices in real estate. How often must a real estate licensee in Rhode Island complete their continuing education requirements? Is it A, annually, B, biennially, C, every 3 years, or D, every 5 years? The answer is B, biennially. Continuing education for real estate licensees in Rhode Island is required biennially, meaning every 2 years. This helps ensure that professionals keep their knowledge current and relevant. What is the consequence for failing to complete continuing education requirements by the renewal deadline in Rhode Island? Is it A, a warning letter, B, a fine, C, a temporary suspension, or D, license expiration? The answer is D, license expiration. Failing to complete continuing education requirements results in license expiration, requiring the licensee to cease practicing until they meet the requirements and renew their license. Rhode Island-specific exam structure and content. What is the minimum passing score required for the Rhode Island real estate licensing exam? Is it A, 60%, B, 65%, C, 70%, or D, 75%? The answer is C, 70%. In Rhode Island, candidates must achieve a minimum score of 70% to pass the real estate licensing exam, reflecting a basic proficiency in real estate principles and state-specific regulations. What is the main focus of the Rhode Island real estate licensing exam's state-specific portion? Is it A, general real estate principles, B, federal real estate regulations, C, Rhode Island real estate laws and regulations, or D, real estate mathematics? The answer is C, Rhode Island real estate laws and regulations. The state-specific portion of the Rhode Island real estate exam primarily focuses on state laws, rules, and regulations. Understanding these specifics is crucial for practicing real estate in compliance with local laws. Which of the following topics is not typically covered in the Rhode Island real estate licensing exam? Is it A, real estate principles, B, Rhode Island-specific laws, C, real estate practices, or D, environmental science? The answer is D, environmental science. The Rhode Island exam focuses on real estate principles, practices, and state laws. Environmental science is generally not a part of the real estate licensing exam content. How often can a candidate retake the Rhode Island real estate exam if they do not pass on their first attempt? Is it A, unlimited times, B, 2 times, C, 3 times, or D, 5 times? The answer is A, unlimited times. Rhode Island allows unlimited retakes of the real estate exam, providing candidates multiple opportunities to achieve a passing score after further study and preparation. Rhode Island real estate laws and regulations. Rhode Island-specific fair housing laws. Which of the following is a protected class under Rhode Island's fair housing laws that is not covered under federal law? Is it A, race, B, sexual orientation, C, religion, or D, color? The answer is B, sexual orientation. Rhode Island includes sexual orientation as a protected class under its fair housing laws, which is not explicitly covered under federal law. This means discrimination based on sexual orientation is prohibited in housing matters. In Rhode Island, what is the maximum fine for a first offense of violating fair housing laws? Is it A, $5,000, B, $7,500, C, $10,000, or D, $15,000? The answer is C, $10,000. The maximum fine for a first offense of violating Rhode Island fair housing laws is $10,000. This penalty serves as a deterrent to prevent discrimination in housing transactions. What is a key responsibility of the Rhode Island Commission for Human Rights regarding fair housing? Is it A, setting rental prices, B, issuing real estate licenses, C, approving housing developments, or D, investigating discrimination complaints? The answer is D, investigating discrimination complaints. The Rhode Island Commission for Human Rights is responsible for investigating complaints of discrimination in housing. They ensure compliance with state fair housing laws through enforcement and education. Under Rhode Island law, which of the following actions is considered discriminatory in housing? Is it A, refusing to rent to a family with children? B, charging a higher security deposit to all tenants? C, offering discounts to senior citizens? Or D, requiring references from all applicants? The answer is A, refusing to rent to a family with children. Refusing to rent to a family with children is discriminatory under Rhode Island fair housing laws, as familial status is a protected class. Such actions are prohibited to ensure equal housing opportunities. Which agency is responsible for enforcing federal fair housing laws in Rhode Island? Is it A, Rhode Island Department of Business Regulation? B, Rhode Island Housing Authority? C, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development? Or D, Rhode Island Real Estate Commission? The answer is C, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is responsible for enforcing federal fair housing laws, working alongside state agencies to ensure compliance and address violations. What is the statute of limitations for filing a fair housing complaint in Rhode Island? Is it A, 6 months, B, 1 year, C, 2 years, or D, 3 years? The answer is B, 1 year. In Rhode Island, individuals have 1 year from the date of the alleged discriminatory act to file a fair housing complaint. This timeframe allows for the investigation and resolution of housing discrimination cases.
If you're finding this helpful, please take a minute to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more practice exams, useful tips, and complimentary study sessions with Birdsy.
Rhode Island-specific contract requirements. What is the minimum number of days required for a seller to provide a buyer with a property condition disclosure form in Rhode Island? Is it A, 5 days, B, 10 days, C, 15 days, or D, 20 days? The answer is B, 10 days. In Rhode Island, sellers must provide the property condition disclosure form to buyers at least 10 days before the signing of the purchase and sale agreement. This requirement ensures that buyers have adequate time to review the property's condition. Which of the following is not a required element in a Rhode Island real estate purchase contract? Is it A, property description, B, sale price, C, witness signature, or D, signatures of parties? The answer is C, witness signature. In Rhode Island, a real estate purchase contract must include property description, sale price, and signatures. A witness signature is not a mandatory element for the contract's validity. In Rhode Island, what is the consequence of failing to provide a lead-based paint disclosure for properties built before 1978? Is it A, buyer may void the contract, B, seller must pay a fine, C, contract is automatically void, or D, no consequence? The answer is A, buyer may void the contract. Failure to provide a lead-based paint disclosure can result in significant penalties, including the potential for the buyer to void the contract. This requirement is part of federal and state regulations to protect buyers. Which party is responsible for ensuring that a Rhode Island real estate contract is in compliance with state regulations? Is it A, the buyer, B, the seller, C, the attorney, or D, the real estate agent or broker? The answer is D, the real estate agent or broker. In Rhode Island, it is typically the responsibility of the real estate agent or broker to ensure that the contracts comply with state regulations and include all necessary disclosures and terms. What must be included in a Rhode Island real estate contract to ensure it is enforceable? Is it A, an oral agreement, B, written documentation, C, a notarized signature, or D, a witness signature? The answer is B, written documentation. A Rhode Island real estate contract must include mutual consent, a lawful object, consideration, and competent parties to be enforceable. The contract must also be in writing to satisfy the statute of frauds. What is required in a Rhode Island real estate contract to address the potential presence of radon gas? Is it A, a waiver of radon testing, B, a certificate of radon-free status, C, a radon disclosure statement, or D, an environmental impact report? The answer is C, a radon disclosure statement. Rhode Island law mandates that real estate contracts must include a radon disclosure, informing buyers of the potential presence of radon gas and advising them to have the property tested. Overview of Rhode Island real estate statutes. What is the primary purpose of the Rhode Island Real Estate Commission? Is it A, to enforce real estate laws and protect the public interest, B, to set property tax rates, C, to provide real estate education, or D, to approve real estate advertisements? The answer is A, to enforce real estate laws and protect the public interest. The Rhode Island Real Estate Commission is responsible for enforcing real estate laws and regulations, ensuring compliance, and protecting the public interest in real estate transactions. Which of the following is a requirement for obtaining a real estate license in Rhode Island? Is it A, owning property in Rhode Island, B, having a college degree in real estate, C, completing a pre-licensing course, or D, being a resident of Rhode Island for 5 years? The answer is C, completing a pre-licensing course. Applicants must complete a pre-licensing course and pass a state exam to demonstrate their knowledge of real estate laws and practices in Rhode Island. Under Rhode Island law, who is responsible for disclosing lead paint hazards in residential properties? Is it A, the real estate agent, B, the seller or landlord, C, the property inspector, or D, the local government? The answer is B, the seller or landlord. Sellers and landlords must disclose known lead paint hazards to buyers or tenants, ensuring safety and compliance with federal and state regulations. What is the statutory period for adverse possession in Rhode Island? Is it A, 5 years, B, 15 years, C, 20 years, or D, 10 years? The answer is D, 10 years. In Rhode Island, the statutory period for claiming adverse possession is 10 years, during which the possessor must continuously and openly occupy the property. Rhode Island property ownership and land use. Types of property ownership, e.g., fee simple, leasehold, joint tenancy. What type of property ownership allows the owner to have the most comprehensive rights in Rhode Island? Is it A, fee simple, B, leasehold, C, joint tenancy, or D, tenancy in common? The answer is A, fee simple. Fee simple ownership grants the owner the most complete set of rights over the property, including the ability to sell, lease, or bequeath the property without restrictions. In Rhode Island, which type of ownership involves a right of survivorship? Is it A, tenancy in common, B, joint tenancy, C, leasehold, or D, fee simple? The answer is B, joint tenancy. Joint tenancy includes a right of survivorship, meaning that upon the death of one owner, their interest automatically passes to the surviving owners. Which type of property ownership in Rhode Island allows an owner to lease their property for a specified period? Is it A, fee simple, B, joint tenancy, C, tenancy in common, or D, leasehold? The answer is D, leasehold. Leasehold ownership allows an individual to lease property for a specific term, subject to the lease agreement's conditions, rather than owning it outright. If two individuals own property in Rhode Island as tenants in common, what does this mean? Is it A, they have equal ownership shares? B, their shares automatically pass to the other upon death? C, each owns a specific share which can be sold independently? Or D, they must have a written agreement to sell the property? The answer is C. Each owns a specific share which can be sold independently. Tenancy in common allows each owner to hold an individual interest in the property, which can be sold or bequeathed without the consent of the other owners.
Stuck on a question? Just think of the Birdsy link in the description as your friendly neighborhood superhero, swooping in to save the day with answers. Feel free to explore it now and return to continue. Simply hit pause, and we'll be waiting when you get back.
Public versus private land use controls. Which of the following is a public land use control in Rhode Island? Is it A, zoning laws, B, deed restrictions, C, easements, or D, covenants? The answer is A, zoning laws. Zoning laws are public land use controls implemented by local governments to regulate land use and development. They help maintain order and ensure the community's welfare. What is the primary purpose of private land use controls in Rhode Island? Is it A, to enforce tax regulations, B, to limit government intervention, C, to maintain property values, or D, to encourage commercial development? The answer is C, to maintain property values. Private land use controls, such as deed restrictions and covenants, aim to maintain property values and ensure a community's aesthetic and functional standards. How do zoning laws differ from covenants in Rhode Island? Is it A, zoning laws are more flexible, B, zoning laws are public, covenants are private, C, covenants are enforced by the state, or D, covenants change more frequently? The answer is B, zoning laws are public, covenants are private. Zoning laws are public regulations established by local governments, while covenants are private agreements between property owners or developers to control land use. Which is an example of a public land use control mechanism in Rhode Island? Is it A, easements, B, deed restrictions, C, homeowner association rules, or D, building codes? The answer is D, building codes. Building codes are public regulations that ensure safety and compliance in construction, protecting the health and welfare of the public. Land use and zoning laws. In Rhode Island, what is the primary purpose of zoning laws? Is it A, to increase property taxes, B, to regulate land use and development, C, to establish building codes, or D, to provide public utilities? The answer is B, to regulate land use and development. Zoning laws in Rhode Island are designed to control land use, ensuring orderly development and separation of incompatible land uses. They help maintain property values and community aesthetics. What is the primary purpose of a zoning ordinance in Rhode Island? Is it A, regulate land use to promote public health, safety, and welfare, B, increase property taxes for local development, C, encourage commercial development over residential areas, or D, restrict access to public amenities? The answer is A, regulate land use to promote public health, safety, and welfare. A zoning ordinance in Rhode Island primarily aims to regulate land use to promote public health, safety, and welfare. It helps manage urban growth, preserve community character, and ensure orderly development. What is a variance in the context of Rhode Island zoning laws? Is it A, a change in property ownership, B, a reduction in property taxes, C, a permitted deviation from zoning requirements, or D, an increase in building height? The answer is C, a permitted deviation from zoning requirements. A variance allows property owners to deviate from zoning requirements granted under specific conditions. It provides flexibility in land use while maintaining zoning integrity. In Rhode Island, who typically has the authority to approve zoning changes? Is it A, the state governor, B, the local zoning board or planning commission, C, the federal government, or D, the local police department? The answer is B, the local zoning board or planning commission. Zoning changes are usually approved by the local zoning board or planning commission, which evaluates proposals based on community impact and compliance with zoning laws. Condominiums and HOAs. In Rhode Island, what is the primary governing document that establishes the rules and regulations for a condominium association? Is it A, Declaration of Condominium, B, C, Articles of Incorporation, or D, Rules and Regulations? The answer is A, Declaration of Condominium. The Declaration of Condominium is the primary document that outlines the rights and responsibilities of the owners and the association. It is legally binding and recorded with the local government. What is a key responsibility of a homeowners association in a Rhode Island condominium complex? Is it A, managing individual unit sales, B, approving tenant leases, C, maintaining common areas, or D, setting property tax rates? The answer is C, maintaining common areas. An HOA is responsible for maintaining common areas, which includes landscaping, amenities, and shared facilities. This ensures the community remains attractive and functional for all residents. Which of the following is a typical power of a Rhode Island condominium board? Is it A, issuing building permits, B, levying assessments, C, enforcing state laws, or D, granting zoning variances? The answer is B, levying assessments. The board has the power to levy assessments to fund the maintenance and operations of the condominium. This is essential for the financial health and upkeep of the property. What is a common restriction that a Rhode Island condominium association might impose on unit owners? Is it A, limiting the number of guests, B, mandating interior decor styles, C, regulating utility usage, or D, restricting pet ownership? The answer is D, restricting pet ownership. Condominium associations often restrict pet ownership to maintain community harmony and prevent damage. These rules are outlined in the association's governing documents. Environmental issues and coastal zone management. What is the primary purpose of the Coastal Resources Management Council in Rhode Island? Is it A, to enforce federal environmental laws, B, to issue building permits for residential properties, C, to manage and protect the state's coastal resources, or D, to develop urban infrastructure in coastal areas? The answer is C, to manage and protect the state's coastal resources. The CRMC is responsible for managing Rhode Island's coastal resources, ensuring sustainable development, and protecting the environment. They regulate activities in coastal areas to balance environmental protection with economic growth. Which of the following is a key component of Rhode Island's land use policy aimed at protecting coastal zones? Is it A, increasing urban development density, B, establishing buffer zones, C, encouraging industrial growth near coastlines, or D, reducing public access to beaches? The answer is B, establishing buffer zones. Buffer zones are critical in protecting coastal ecosystems from development impacts. They provide a transition area that absorbs pollutants and mitigates erosion, preserving natural habitats. How does Rhode Island's Coastal Zone Management Act support environmental conservation? Is it A, by requiring management plans that balance development and conservation, B, by limiting all development in coastal areas, C, by providing federal funding for urban expansion, or D, by promoting industrial activities in coastal zones? The answer is A, by requiring management plans that balance development and conservation. The CZMA supports conservation by requiring state and local governments to develop management plans that balance environmental protection with land use and development. What is the role of the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management in land use? Is it A, to provide housing subsidies, B, to manage transportation infrastructure, C, to regulate local zoning laws, or D, to enforce environmental laws and regulations? The answer is D, to enforce environmental laws and regulations. RIDM plays a crucial role in enforcing environmental laws and regulations, ensuring that land use practices do not harm the environment and comply with state standards. Rhode Island Agency Law and Ethics. Agency relationship laws. What is the primary obligation of an agent under Rhode Island agency law when representing a client? Is it A, to maximize their own commission, B, to act in the best interest of the client, C, to ensure a quick transaction, or D, to follow the client's instructions without question? The answer is B, to act in the best interest of the client. In Rhode Island, an agent's primary obligation is to act in the best interest of the client, which includes loyalty, confidentiality, and full disclosure of material facts. Which of the following is a duty that an agent owes to a third party in Rhode Island? Is it A, confidentiality, B, loyalty, C, honesty and fair dealing, or D, negotiation? The answer is C, honesty and fair dealing. Agents owe third parties the duty of honesty and fair dealing, which includes not misrepresenting facts or engaging in fraudulent activities. Under Rhode Island agency law, when must an agent disclose their agency relationship to a prospective buyer? Is it A, at the earliest practicable opportunity, B, only after a purchase offer is made, C, once the buyer expresses serious interest, or D, after the buyer signs a contract? The answer is A, at the earliest practicable opportunity. Disclosure of an agency relationship must occur at the earliest practicable opportunity, ideally before any substantive discussions about a property take place. What is the consequence for an agent in Rhode Island who fails to disclose a dual agency relationship? Is it A, the transaction is automatically voided, B, the agent receives a warning, C, the client can sue for damages, or D, disciplinary action by the licensing authority? The answer is D, disciplinary action by the licensing authority. Failure to disclose dual agency can result in disciplinary action, including fines or license suspension, as it violates fiduciary duties and undermines trust.
Notice the code in the corner? When you're stumped by a question, enter it at birdsy.ai for immediate help. Enjoy complimentary study sessions and access to hundreds of additional questions to help you pass your exam with confidence.
Fiduciary duties and client representation. In Rhode Island, which of the following is a fiduciary duty that an agent owes to their client? Is it A, advertising, B, negotiation, C, confidentiality, or D, appraisal? The answer is C, confidentiality. Confidentiality requires that an agent must not disclose any personal or sensitive information about the client without their consent. This duty continues even after the agency relationship ends. Which fiduciary duty requires a Rhode Island real estate agent to act in the best interests of their client? Is it A, B, disclosure, C, accounting, or D, obedience? The answer is A, loyalty. Loyalty obliges agents to prioritize their clients' interests above their own, ensuring that all actions and advice benefit the client first. What is the primary duty of a Rhode Island real estate agent when representing a buyer in a transaction? Is it A, ensure the highest sale price. B. Provide honest and fair representation. C. Minimize commission. Or D. Maximize property options. The answer is B. Provide honest and fair representation. The primary duty is to provide honest and fair representation, ensuring the buyer's interests are protected and all material facts are disclosed. How does the duty of obedience manifest in Rhode Island real estate agency law? Is it A. By prioritizing the agent's own interests? B. By disclosing all possible defects? C. By maintaining confidentiality? Or D. By following lawful instructions from the client? The answer is D. By following lawful instructions from the client. Obedience requires agents to follow lawful and ethical instructions from their clients, ensuring actions comply with legal and ethical standards. Rhode Island Ethics Guidelines and Enforcement. What is the primary purpose of the Rhode Island Ethics Guidelines in real estate practice? Is it A. To increase real estate sales? B. To ensure integrity and transparency in real estate transactions? C. To provide financial advice to clients? Or D. To regulate real estate commission rates? The answer is B. To ensure integrity and transparency in real estate transactions. The Rhode Island Ethics Guidelines aim to ensure that real estate professionals conduct their business with integrity, transparency, and fairness to protect the interests of clients and the public. Which body is responsible for enforcing the Rhode Island Ethics Guidelines in real estate? Is it A. The National Association of Realtors? B. The Rhode Island Department of Commerce? C. The Rhode Island Real Estate Commission? Or D. The local Chamber of Commerce? The answer is C. The Rhode Island Real Estate Commission. The Rhode Island Real Estate Commission oversees the enforcement of ethics guidelines, ensuring compliance and addressing violations by real estate professionals. What is a potential consequence for a real estate agent found in violation of the Rhode Island Ethics Guidelines? Is it A. License suspension? B. Mandatory community service? C. A warning letter? Or D. A reduction in commission rates? The answer is A. License suspension. Violations can lead to license suspension, which prevents the agent from practicing until the issue is resolved, ensuring compliance with ethical standards. Which of the following is a key component of ethical practice under Rhode Island real estate guidelines? Is it A. Offering the lowest commission rate? B. Providing free market analysis? C. Maintaining confidentiality of all client information? Or D. Disclosure of material facts? The answer is D. Disclosure of material facts. Disclosure of material facts is crucial to ensure that clients make informed decisions, aligning with the ethical standards set by the guidelines. Rhode Island Property Valuation. Basic principles of property valuation. What is the primary purpose of conducting a property valuation in Rhode Island? Is it A. To estimate the market value of a property? B. To determine the historical value of a property? C. To calculate the potential rental income of a property? Or D. To assess the cost of property improvements? The answer is A. To estimate the market value of a property. The primary purpose of property valuation is to estimate the market value of a property for various purposes, such as sale, taxation, or investment. It helps stakeholders make informed decisions. Which principle of property valuation considers the impact of external factors on property value? Is it A. Principle of substitution? B. Principle of externalities? C. Principle of contribution? Or D. Principle of anticipation? The answer is B. Principle of externalities. The principle of externalities refers to how external factors like location, economic conditions, and neighborhood quality can affect property value either positively or negatively. How does the principle of substitution affect property valuation? Is it A, it increases the property's market value? B, it decreases the property's market value? C, it sets a ceiling on the property's market value? Or D, it has no effect on property valuation? The answer is C, it sets a ceiling on the property's market value. The principle of substitution states that a property's value is determined by the cost of acquiring an equivalent substitute property. It ensures buyers do not overpay for a property. What does the principle of anticipation imply in property valuation? Is it A, it focuses on current market trends? B, it emphasizes the historical performance of a property? C, it considers only the physical attributes of a property? Or D, it values property based on expected future benefits? The answer is D, it values property based on expected future benefits. The principle of anticipation suggests that property value is based on the expected future benefits, such as income or use, that the property will provide to its owner. Sales comparison, cost, and income approaches. In the sales comparison approach, which factor is most critical for adjusting comparable properties in Rhode Island? Is it A, age of the property? B, size of the property? C, location of the property? Or D, type of construction? The answer is C, location of the property. Location is crucial in the sales comparison approach as it directly affects property value. Comparable properties must be adjusted for location differences to ensure accurate valuation. What is a primary assumption of the cost approach in property valuation? Is it A, the cost to build a similar property reflects its market value? B, market value is determined solely by income potential? C, depreciation has no impact on property value? Or D, comparable sales data is irrelevant? The answer is A, the cost to build a similar property reflects its market value. The cost approach assumes that the cost to build a property is a reliable indicator of its value, especially for new or unique properties where comparables are scarce. In the income approach, which method is commonly used to estimate property value in Rhode Island? Is it A, replacement cost method? B, capitalization rate method? C, sales adjustment method? Or D, depreciation method? The answer is B, capitalization rate method. The capitalization rate method is widely used in the income approach to convert income into an estimate of property value, particularly for income-generating properties. Which of the following is a limitation of the sales comparison approach in Rhode Island? Is it A, high reliance on construction costs? B, complex income calculations? C, difficulty in adjusting for depreciation? Or D, scarcity of recent comparable sales? The answer is D, scarcity of recent comparable sales. A limitation of the sales comparison approach is the availability of recent comparable sales, which can be scarce in rapidly changing or unique markets. Rhode Island financing. Mortgage loans and financing options. What is the minimum down payment required for an FHA loan in Rhode Island? Is it A, 3.5%, B, 5%, C, 10%, or D, 20%? The answer is A, 3.5%. The Federal Housing Administration requires a minimum down payment of 3.5% for borrowers with a credit score of 580 or higher. This makes FHA loans accessible to more buyers. Which of the following is a characteristic of a VA loan in Rhode Island? Is it A, requires a 10% down payment? B, no private mortgage insurance required? C, available to all home buyers? Or D, higher interest rates than conventional loans? The answer is B, No private mortgage insurance required. VA loans are guaranteed by the Department of Veterans Affairs, offering benefits such as no down payment and no private mortgage insurance, available to eligible veterans and service members. What is a common feature of adjustable rate mortgages in Rhode Island? Is it A, fixed interest rate for the life of the loan? B, interest rates decrease annually? C, initial lower interest rate? Or D, guaranteed payment stability? The answer is C, initial lower interest rate. Adjustable rate mortgages typically start with a lower initial interest rate, which can increase or decrease over time based on market conditions, making them riskier for long-term stability. What is the purpose of private mortgage insurance in Rhode Island? Is it A, to protect lenders from borrower default? B, to reduce the interest rate? C, to increase the loan term? Or D, to insure the property value? The answer is A, to protect lenders from borrower default. Private mortgage insurance protects lenders against losses if a borrower defaults. It is typically required when a borrower makes a down payment of less than 20% on a conventional loan.
Don't forget to comment below with your tips, challenges, and thoughts on exam preparation. Your experiences can make a big difference for others.
Loan applications and approval processes. What is the primary purpose of the Truth in Lending Act in the context of Rhode Island loan applications? Is it A, to regulate interest rates on loans? B, to ensure borrowers receive clear information about loan terms? C, to prevent lenders from offering subprime loans? Or D, to mandate uniform loan application processes? The answer is B, to ensure borrowers receive clear information about loan terms. The Truth in Lending Act ensures that borrowers are provided with clear and accurate information about the costs and terms of credit, thereby promoting informed use of credit. Which document is essential for verifying a borrower's income during the loan approval process in Rhode Island? Is it A, W-2 form? B, credit report? C, loan estimate? Or D, title insurance? The answer is A, W-2 form. The W-2 form is a crucial document that lenders use to verify a borrower's income, ensuring the borrower can meet loan obligations. How does the Rhode Island Housing Act impact loan applications for first-time homebuyers? Is it A, by reducing property taxes? B, by offering interest-free loans? C, by providing down payment assistance? Or D, by mandating lower interest rates? The answer is C, by providing down payment assistance. The Rhode Island Housing Act provides assistance programs for first-time homebuyers, including down payment assistance and favorable loan terms to help them secure financing. What role does the debt-to-income ratio play in the loan approval process in Rhode Island? Is it A, it determines the loan interest rate? B, it verifies the borrower's employment history? C, it calculates the property's market value? Or D, it assesses the borrower's repayment capacity? The answer is D, it assesses the borrower's repayment capacity. The DTI ratio helps lenders assess a borrower's ability to manage monthly payments and repay debts, influencing the approval decision. Rhode Island mortgage disclosure requirements. What is the primary purpose of the Rhode Island mortgage disclosure requirements? Is it A, to increase lender profits? B, to simplify the mortgage application process? C, to ensure transparency and informed decision-making for borrowers? Or D, to reduce the number of mortgage applications? The answer is C, to ensure transparency and informed decision-making for borrowers. The Rhode Island mortgage disclosure requirements aim to ensure borrowers receive clear and comprehensive information about their mortgage terms, promoting transparency and informed decision-making. Which document is not typically required under Rhode Island mortgage disclosure requirements? Is it A, loan estimate, B, driver's license, C, closing disclosure, or D, mortgage servicing disclosure statement? The answer is B, driver's license. The Rhode Island mortgage disclosure requirements focus on financial transparency, requiring documents like the loan estimate and closing disclosure, but not personal identification documents. How soon must the loan estimate be provided to a borrower under Rhode Island mortgage disclosure requirements? Is it A, within 3 business days, B, within 10 business days, C, before the closing date, or D, after the loan is approved? The answer is A, within 3 business days. The loan estimate must be provided within 3 business days of receiving the borrower's application, allowing them to understand loan terms early in the process. What information must be included in the closing disclosure under Rhode Island mortgage disclosure requirements? Is it A, only the interest rate, B, estimated property taxes, C, borrower's credit score, or D, final loan terms and costs? The answer is D, final loan terms and costs. The closing disclosure must include all final loan terms and costs, enabling borrowers to understand the complete financial obligations before closing. Rhode Island-specific loan programs. Which Rhode Island-specific loan program is designed to assist first-time homebuyers with down payment and closing costs? Is it A, RI Housing Mortgage Credit Certificate, B, First Homes 100, C, Ocean State Home Loan, or D, RI Housing Home Improvement Loan? The answer is B, First Homes 100. The First Homes 100 program is aimed at first-time homebuyers, offering down payment and closing cost assistance. It helps make homeownership more accessible by reducing the financial burden of upfront costs. What is a key feature of the Rhode Island Housing Mortgage Credit Certificate Program? Is it A, provides a federal tax credit for mortgage interest, B, offers a grant for home renovations, C, reduces the interest rate on the mortgage, or D, assists with property taxes? The answer is A, provides a federal tax credit for mortgage interest. The Rhode Island Housing Mortgage Credit Certificate Program allows homebuyers to claim a tax credit for a portion of the mortgage interest paid, reducing their federal income tax liability and making homeownership more affordable. Which of the following is a requirement for eligibility in the Rhode Island Housing First Homes 100 program? Is it A, must be a resident of Rhode Island for at least 5 years, B, must be purchasing a property valued over $500,000, C, must be a first-time homebuyer, or D, must have a credit score above 750? The answer is C, must be a first-time homebuyer. To qualify for the First Homes 100 program, applicants must be first-time homebuyers, which means they have not owned a home in the past 3 years. This requirement ensures the program targets those entering the housing market. What type of assistance does the Rhode Island Housing Home Improvement Loan provide? Is it A, down payment assistance for new homebuyers, B, mortgage interest rate reduction, C, tax credits for energy-efficient upgrades, or D, loans for home repairs and improvements? The answer is D, loans for home repairs and improvements. The Rhode Island Housing Home Improvement Loan offers financial assistance to homeowners for making necessary repairs and improvements, enhancing the safety, efficiency, and value of their homes. This supports maintaining and upgrading existing properties. Rhode Island Housing Resources Commission. What is the primary function of the Rhode Island Housing Resources Commission? Is it A, to regulate real estate brokers, B, to coordinate housing policies and promote affordable housing, C. To manage state transportation projects. Or D. To oversee environmental conservation efforts. The answer is B. To coordinate housing policies and promote affordable housing. The RIHRC is tasked with addressing housing needs, promoting affordable housing, and coordinating housing policies in Rhode Island. It plays a crucial role in ensuring housing stability and accessibility. Which program is managed by the RIHRC to assist low-income families with housing needs? Is it A. Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program, B. Community Development Block Grant, C. Home Investment Partnerships Program, or D. Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program? The answer is C. Home Investment Partnerships Program. The RIHRC manages several programs, including the Home Investment Partnerships Program, which provides grants to low-income families for affordable housing projects. How does the RIHRC support sustainable housing development in Rhode Island? Is it A. By funding energy-efficient housing projects, B. By regulating construction materials, C. By offering tax incentives for luxury developments, or D. By managing public transportation systems? The answer is A. By funding energy-efficient housing projects. The RIHRC supports sustainable housing by providing funding and guidance for energy-efficient housing projects, ensuring environmental sustainability and cost-effectiveness. What is a key priority of the RIHRC in addressing homelessness in Rhode Island? Is it A. Developing luxury housing complexes, B. Increasing property tax rates, C. Promoting tourism to increase housing demand, or D. Providing emergency shelter and transitional housing? The answer is D. Providing emergency shelter and transitional housing. The RIHRC prioritizes providing emergency shelter and transitional housing to address homelessness, aiming to offer immediate relief and long-term solutions. Rhode Island disclosure requirements and forms. Rhode Island-specific disclosure requirements. What is the purpose of the Rhode Island Lead Disclosure Form in real estate transactions? Is it A. To verify the property's market value, B. To guarantee the property's structural integrity, C. To disclose the presence of lead-based paint, or D. To confirm the property's zoning classification? The answer is C. To disclose the presence of lead-based paint. The Rhode Island Lead Disclosure Form is required to inform buyers or tenants about the presence of lead-based paint in properties built before 1978, ensuring compliance with federal and state regulations. Which document must be provided to a prospective buyer to comply with Rhode Island's Residential Property Condition Disclosure Act? Is it A. A certificate of occupancy, B. A residential property disclosure form, C. An environmental impact report, or D. A zoning compliance certificate? The answer is B. A residential property disclosure form. Sellers must provide a residential property disclosure form detailing the property's condition and any known defects to inform buyers before they commit to purchasing. When must a seller provide a buyer with the Rhode Island Residential Lead Warning Statement? Is it A. Before signing a purchase agreement, B. After the home inspection, C. During the closing process, or D. Upon buyer's request? The answer is A. Before signing a purchase agreement. The Residential Lead Warning Statement must be provided before a contract is signed for homes built before 1978, ensuring buyers are informed of potential lead hazards. What information is typically included in a Rhode Island seller's disclosure form? Is it A. The seller's personal financial status, B. The property's estimated future market value, C. The property's school district ratings, or D. Known structural issues and legal encumbrances? The answer is D. Known structural issues and legal encumbrances. The form includes information about known structural issues, environmental hazards, and any legal encumbrances, ensuring transparency in property conditions for buyers. Commonly used Rhode Island forms. Which form is required for sellers in Rhode Island to disclose known property defects? Is it A, Rhode Island Lead Disclosure Form, B, Rhode Island Buyer Representation Agreement, C, Rhode Island Sellers Disclosure Form, or D, Rhode Island Purchase and Sales Agreement? The answer is C, Rhode Island Sellers Disclosure Form. The Rhode Island Sellers Disclosure Form is mandated by law to inform buyers of any known defects or issues with the property. This ensures transparency and protects both parties in the transaction. What is the purpose of the Rhode Island Lead Disclosure Form? Is it A, to disclose potential lead-based paint hazards, B, to outline the terms of a real estate transaction, C, to provide information on property taxes, or D, to list all known property defects? The answer is A, to disclose potential lead-based paint hazards. The Rhode Island Lead Disclosure Form is used to inform buyers or tenants about the potential presence of lead-based paint in properties built before 1978, ensuring compliance with federal lead paint regulations. What information is typically included in the Rhode Island Seller's Disclosure Form? Is it A, the seller's financial history, B, known property defects and issues, C, the buyer's credit score, or D, the terms of the loan agreement? The answer is B, known property defects and issues. The seller's disclosure form includes information about known property defects, environmental hazards, and other relevant issues, helping buyers make informed decisions about the property they are interested in. Which form is used to officially represent a buyer in Rhode Island? Is it A, Rhode Island Seller's Disclosure Form, B, Rhode Island Purchase and Sales Agreement, C, Rhode Island Lead Disclosure Form, or D, Rhode Island Buyer Representation Agreement? The answer is D, Rhode Island Buyer Representation Agreement. The Rhode Island Buyer Representation Agreement establishes a formal relationship between a real estate agent and a buyer, outlining the agent's duties and the terms of the representation. Specific procedures for transactions. What is the primary purpose of Rhode Island's Seller's Disclosure Form in real estate transactions? Is it A, to inform potential buyers about known material defects in the property, B, to provide a detailed history of previous owners, C, to determine the market value of the property, or D, to list all improvements made to the property? The answer is A, to inform potential buyers about known material defects in the property. The seller's disclosure form is designed to inform potential buyers about known material defects in the property, ensuring transparency and protecting both parties from future disputes. Which party is responsible for completing the lead disclosure form in Rhode Island real estate transactions? Is it A, the buyer, B, the seller or lessor, C, the real estate agent, or D, the home inspector? The answer is B, the seller or lessor. The seller or lessor must complete the lead disclosure form detailing any known lead-based paint hazards as required by federal and state law to protect buyers and tenants. In Rhode Island, what must a real estate agent do if they become aware of a material defect that the seller has not disclosed? Is it A, ignore the defect as it is the seller's responsibility, B, advise the seller to fix the defect immediately, C, disclose the defect to potential buyers, or D, report the defect to the local housing authority? The answer is C, disclose the defect to potential buyers. Agents have a duty to disclose known material defects to potential buyers, even if the seller has not disclosed them, to ensure transparency and compliance with ethical standards. What is the consequence if a seller in Rhode Island fails to provide the required disclosure forms before the sale? Is it A, the sale is automatically voided? B, the buyer must accept the property as is? C, the seller is fined by the state? Or D, the buyer may void the contract or seek damages? The answer is D, the buyer may void the contract or seek damages. Failure to provide required disclosures can lead to legal consequences, including the buyer having grounds to void the contract or seek damages for undisclosed defects.
Thanks for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to our channel for more practice exams, tips, and tricks. And don't forget to visit Birdsy.ai for complimentary study sessions with Birdsy, your AI-powered study partner.